Ben from Internachi, and we're in Idaho, in the mountains, taking a look at this house behind me, and we're gonna see if there are any problems with the house. Gonna check out a few systems. So come along with me and we'll take a look. Every home should be inspected to make sure that the home is safe, that it's functioning, and that it's healthy. So let's inspect this house. In Idaho right now, there's a fire about 9 miles away and they're working on it. So fire mitigation around a house in certain areas is very important. And in this house, we have some vegetation growing in close proximity around the entire structure. We also have dead vegetation as well, like the tree behind me. It's close to the house. There's some dead parts. And again, fire mitigation is very important. It's not just about the materials being used on the house, but also managing what's going around the house, on the land. And when I look around a house on a mountainside, I'm looking at structural issues, like there's a large concrete retaining wall. So the hillside is here, driveway is there, parking area, and then the structure itself. Got a hot tub there. And looking at how the ground slopes. So when you're on a hillside, how is the soil around the structure? And is there any erosion? And are there any indications of movement? And on this house, we've got a really nice deck structure. But I'm gonna take a look at the wooden components where they go into the ground. And I can see that the post here behind me, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not plumb. So there's some movement here. Let's take a look closer. And this is the reason why. So we have some deterioration of the wooden components, the retaining wall, but also we have a bit of a settlement here because the bottom of this post has rotted away and it's compressed. It's also shifting out. So it's not actually, it's kicking out this way, down the hill. So we'll take a look at the other components, like the deck structure there. So we don't want to see small 4x4 components. We want to see large 6x6, 8x8 load-bearing posts. So what we have here is some small 4x4s. They're not attached at all at the top. I'm not sure about the footing either. So I'll take a closer look at the deck structure. But again, thinking about, even though it's a dry area in the summertime, it snows a lot and it melts. So we still have to think about managing water around this mountain cabin in Idaho. Now we can take a look at the roof. Metal roof. Looks like an access point there, or maybe a repair. So from the ground, I can see the boot or the flashing around the main sewer vent pipe. It's not the best. And there are some pieces that go underneath the metal roof along the ridge. They're starting to slide and come apart. And then on this porch deck here, I have some insulation, some foam insulation installed. Sometimes I just can't figure out what's going on, and that's a good time to ask my client, to ask the seller or the occupant what's going on. So I see a lot of foam being installed at the rafter tails and at the edge. Just not sure why they're filling in these areas. It doesn't need to be insulated. It's not used for fastening or securing anything. And I would say it's not supporting anything. It's not even done well. I'll just put that in the report as a question to ask. And as I go around the deck from above, taking a look at the deck structure, I'm not a pest management inspector, but I will comment for my clients if I see signs of pests, mice, rats, wood destroying organisms. And I thought initially this was mouse droppings, but actually it's from bats above my head. So they're up there near the ridge, and the droppings are below, all along here. So kind of common for an infestation of bats in a mountain. If I look down, I'm looking down at droppings as well, along a deck or on the outside of the property, along the foundation. Sometimes mice will leave their droppings near holes. But roofs like this have so many good places to kind of nest. I see droppings below. Above, yep, there's a little area there. And maybe that seal was sealed with sealant. And maybe that was why we have so much foam here and there on the other side. Not sure. Good question to ask though. I'm walking around the exterior, and home inspectors, we think of a house as a system of interdependent parts. And when one part affects another part, it's pretty commonplace. So I'm looking around for the bats, right? And the droppings. And I'm also looking at the structure of the roof. And so above my head here, you can see there are no gutters on the house. And that's just fine. It's a mountain house. You can't really have gutters with 3 feet of snow, but you still have to manage water. And so we have water coming down off the roof onto this, and it's kind of damaging the wooden components here. And this is the rafter tail of the roof. But right here is my concern. This is the beam that holds a lot of weight. It's starting to rot at the top, rot to the touch. I don't even need to probe it with my screwdriver or anything. It's also starting to crack and slide. And that's a large load-bearing component, as well as that rafter there. So it comes down, and if you follow the load-bearing path all the way down to the deck, this load-bearing component is a little soft on the bottom. So this has some wood rot as well, you can see, but it's also resting on the deck, the plastic deck composite flooring. It's not what we want to see. So I'll take a look below this and see where this goes. There should be a beam at least, or maybe a post underneath this one. So what we have is you're inspecting one thing, and you bump up against something else. Very common. Now, how do you report it? Well, if you're using software, you just simply click from one to the other. And that's the only load-bearing component that I would be concerned about. Up here is that roof structure with no gutter, and that's okay. But there's that one beam coming out. There it is there. And that's where you see wood rot and cracking. And then this post comes down. We see some wood rot here. And then where is it below? This is good. A very large girder. And it comes over here. It's resting on this beam, and that is on concrete. So we have an off-plumb load-bearing post. Above us, we have a beam that goes up to that corner up there, and way up there, there's wood rot, a structural problem. So a couple things need to be attended to, and that's the fun part of being a home inspector. When you're inspecting a house like this, I'm going around the house, inspecting all the systems all at once, but sometimes I bump into other systems. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm looking at, but eventually we'll figure it out, right? All we want is that the structural components that I observe, that I consider to be material defects, I want those in the report for my client. That's my goal. underneath the deck, what can you see? Like every other joist is new. It's been repaired, right? So this is a replacement joist, or a new one actually, and that's the original one, and it's been sistered because it's probably rotten. And then they added this one with some joist hangers. There's the original one with the sister on it because it probably would rot. So every other one, the original one was too far apart. That's 24 inches. Got water damage, so they're trying to repair things. So that's why I'm seeing new things and old things. And here's a old floor joist here with a big crack in it. And it was sistered with a 2x4. Really don't like to see the sistering of floor joists with only 2x4s. I'm not sure what the original problem was. Must have been a lot of wood rot, I would assume. So now, because of that observation, I'm gonna go around the entire structure one more time, take a look for wood rot on floor joists and see if there has been any indications of prior water damage and repair. And then we're gonna ask the client to ask the seller or the occupant about the deck and any repairs that have been made in the past. Back at the deck again. I'm looking at the ledger board area. I see the original joists go through the ledger board. So I don't know what's on the inside. Maybe they thought of a cantilever kind of effect or something where the original floor joist comes out and they repaired it with these new ones. Can't really comment on things I can't see, but I do have a ledger board on a deck. So I'm gonna go up here and take a look, right? And I wanna see flashing. I don't see flashing here. I know I have a concrete structure, concrete block CMU, concrete masonry units. They go up. Are the original floor joists of the deck resting on top? Is there flashing above? Ledger board flashing is really important. So let's just go up right now and take a look for ledger board flashing. Now, as a home inspector, I feel like I've got some really good information for my clients. That's my goal, I have several goals, but one of them essentially is giving my clients information that they need to make a smart decision. All right, now it's the story of the deck is starting to come through. I think there was a lot of repair on this deck, okay? Because look, we've got the newer plastic floorboards, right? The boards have been replaced. The railings have been replaced, totally new. And this is the original. It was wooden, right? And they cut it there and they replaced a lot of things. That's why this is all new, right? Now, ledger board flashing needs to be along there. How do you get to see it? That's why we wear knee pads. Let's see what's going on. The ledger board flashing. Can you see that? Let me tilt it a little bit. Don't get dizzy. There's no ledger board flashing. And right there is OSB, right? OSB, OSB, OSB. So, and there's OSB edge, right? So there's no ledger board flashing. This is a ledger board on OSB. There aren't not even any, felt paper, nothing, no house wrap, nothing. So I'm a little concerned about water here, right? Water on the deck going to this ledger board and deteriorating it. And it's just like that all the way down. There's no ledger board flashing at all. So they're repairing it, but they missed one critical component at the ledger board of a deck. There has to be flashing, ledger board flashing, metal flashing, kicking out, diverting out that water from where the house is so that water doesn't go in there. And that is OSB. Information, just telling the story of the house, has to be fixed. There's been some repair in the past to the deck. More repair is needed. That's the story. Not trying to kill any deals here. Just making sure. There's a loose board. No big deal. There's another loose board down there, right? You can see a bit of a trip hazard right there. And then there's the original, right? So there's the original. I don't know why they kept this 20 feet, 30 feet of old board, but okay, that's the story of the deck. So if you've been here for a while, walking around a couple times, trying to figure things out, seeing indications of this, indications of that, even commenting on, fire hazards, mitigation, never store wood up against the house, right? Got some concerns with the deck. It isn't cosmetic, it's structural stuff. A load-bearing beam, a load-bearing post, floor joists, flashing, rot. All this is really good information. This is why you get a home inspection. Every home should be inspected. Every deck especially should be inspected by a certified home inspector. All right, let's take a look around at the rest of the stuff. Water management, mountain home in Idaho. It's really about snow melt. See the siding? There's no clearance between the ground and the wooden siding. And I can tell that right there is the floor of the house. So we're at floor level right here. And the siding is right there. There's no clearance. 6, 8 inches up, that'd be great. It's even worse than that. You got some gardening planting going on. A big pile of dirt up against the wooden siding, which is now above the floor, interior room of the floor here. So water management, no matter where you are, every home has to manage water, even in a dry area. Underground propane tank, take a look at. And then we've got shut-off valve, pressure regulator, and then we got this black iron stuff. It's not supported, so I got one support strap here, and then 20 feet down there, I got another one, and then it goes up. And so you got to support your fuel lines. Overhead electrical line coming from utility pole, coming down the mountain, and then it goes across, and it's within reach of that openable window right there. There's the meter and the drip loops right there, but that's the second floor loft bedroom, I'm assuming, in this type of structure, and you can't have that. And then as a home inspector, we use all of our senses, so I hear probably a bathroom exhaust fan above my head, and there it is, which is good. All bathrooms should exhaust outside, but the termination should have a hood and a screen, and it should be watertight to prevent water and vermin from going in. And the exhaust pipe looks like a real cheap plastic thing. I'm not sure how reliable it is on the inside. Oh, and here's looks like something got in there or bumped into it. I'll wash my hands later now. So that bathroom exhaust, some attention to be done there with the termination and the pipe itself. And here's the main shut-offs. Closed. And one last thing about the deck. The railing can permit a child to fall through. So we don't want any little ones falling through the space in between the wire of the guard. The guard is to protect you from falling out, but also it has to prevent little kids from maybe climbing, using it as a ladder, or falling. And if they did fall, that's a good 15-foot drop. It could be fatal. So we don't want large spaces in our deck railings. Guards. That's the vertical part that prevents you from falling, right? A handrail is different from a guard. A handrail is graspable, and it's usually on some steps. And so if my client needed a handrail for these front steps at the deck, it's missing. I'm not a code inspector. Code will say that you have to have 4 or more risers before a requirement of a handrail. But I'm a home inspector, thank goodness. And maybe my client needs a handrail for every step of a stairway. So I can put that in the inspection report, that a handrail for my client would be recommended because my client needs it. This is not a code inspection. This is not a code violation. It's really just a recommendation, and my recommendations have no weight. I'm not a code inspector. I can't require somebody to fix anything. It's really just a recommendation. All right, so let's go in. Oh, torn screen. Minor. Well, the staircase that goes up to the upper level where the second bedroom area is, I'm missing a handrail at those first two steps, and actually there's no handrail, that graspable handrail at all. And so this is the cabin. It's kind of like an A-frame, big tall ceiling. There's the staircase, no handrail. Big fan providing circulation. There's no central air conditioning. There's a window air conditioner. I'll show you later. And right there is that sewer vent pipe through the roof. Do you remember that? Just a spider web. No major water problems that I can see from there. And then there's a closet. Turn on the light. And then the pipe goes up, and they stuffed plastic bags up there. All right. But no indications of active roof leaks. So that's good. There's the heating stove. It's not wood burning. There's the electric. So it's gas, drip leg, shut-off valve, electric baseboard. So electric baseboard throughout the house. This is just a nice looking stove with the normal operating controls. It's off. There's the limit switch and then a connector pipe to the exhaust outside that we saw earlier. Nice stove. It's electric baseboard throughout the house. About a half a dozen of them. So I think they rent this out because they have that labeled. And there's the interior. Representative number of windows and doors, and I take a look at the floor and the ceiling, looking for active roof leaks or safety issues. That's the dining room and the kitchen. So let's take a look at the kitchen. I do the same thing on every kitchen. I run the hot and cold water, has a dish sprayer, and a garbage disposal. I'll take a look for plumbing leaks at the drain pipes and the water supply and electrical connection to the garbage disposal. Turn that on. GFCI protection at all kitchen counter receptacles. You can use the test button or your GFCI tester. And that's the window air conditioner. There's the air conditioning in the kitchen window. So we'll turn it on, make sure it kicks on. Obviously it's just one little unit. And the gas stove, nice gas stove, anti-tipping device installed. I'll turn on all the range burners, make sure everything is working, including the oven and the vent. It looks good. Brand new microwave. I'll turn that on with the microwave leak detector. And the vent, it doesn't go outside, so it doesn't go anywhere, actually. And there's the dishwasher, but I'm not going to turn it on because it's at an angle. It's at an angle there. It's not even straight, and the door won't even open very well. I don't think it's being used. So something's up with the dishwasher. Bathrooms. Basically do the same thing, same inspection process. It's a process, right? So you can delegate down these tasks. If you have a process in place, check the shower head flow, make sure it's functional, look at the flooring, maybe step where the flooring meets the tub and the toilet, flush it again. You want functional flow from the fixtures running simultaneously. Look at the trap, not the best trap there. Look for plumbing leaks. Test the GFCI protection at the receptacles in the bathroom, and the vent fan should exhaust outside. It does. And then there's a heating unit in the bathroom, and the door opens and closes. Turn everything off. Hot and cold water. tub, drain stopper. Looking good. Let's go to the next one. This is the main bathroom, master bathroom. Same process, right? Anybody could do this. Hot, cold. Flush the toilet. Make sure it's stable on the floor. Look for plumbing leaks at the valve and the connections. Turn on the bathroom tub or shower. Hot and cold. And you want functional flow. When simultaneously running fixtures, let's flush it again. No plumbing access behind the shower, but that's okay. And look for plumbing leaks. There's a drain and hot and cold water valves and GFCI protection at the receptacles. And there's the ventilation. It's a window and also an exhaust fan above that goes outside. Still functional, hot and cold water, turn everything off. Look at the heating source, electric unit, and the door opens and closes. And that's about it. Looks pretty good. Down in the basement, we have a fire hazard. Some kind of scorching at the heating unit down in the basement. That's a defect. Here's the electrical panel, all the breakers. We saw the main shutoff breaker on the outside. All the breakers are identified here. That's good. Not required to remove the dead front. There's the laundry. Got the dryer. Got the clothes washer. Supply hoses, drain. Electric supply, should be GFCI protected. Looking for plumbing leaks, fire hazards. There's the dryer, electric dryer, exhaust outside. Confirm that. Laundry, hot, cold water, no leaks. And then next to it is the water source, hot water source. The drain pan, if it leaks, it's going to drain on the floor and into the drain floor. Okay, all right. That's kind of odd, but it's electric. There's the hot, cold go in, hot go out, bonding in between. And the TPR valve right there at the top, it's not discharging to the floor. Hazard, defect. And the electrical connection, and that's actually a little loose right there. That's a defect that needs to be fixed. And there's the laundry room with an extra refrigerator. In the basement room. And just like all interior rooms, we look for representative number of doors and windows and receptacles, and look for handrails, and look at the light fixtures and watermarks in the ceiling, representative number of light fixtures. So good.
All right, well, that was fun. We did a home inspection in Idaho, in the mountains. And we found some good stuff to communicate to our client about the condition of the home. I'm not trying to kill a deal here if this was a real estate transaction. I'm just trying to tell the story of the home. And I'm assuming my client wants to move in. They found this dream home, and the things that I find that are major defects, I'll put in the report for a reason, so that it gets fixed. That's you know, the one thing I can't do for people. We can find things that needs fixing or correcting, repairing or maintaining or monitoring, but we can't do it for them. So what we are as home inspectors are simply storytellers. I'm trying to tell the story to my client of their home. And if there's a need for some repair, well, that's going to be in the report. Maybe they can use the inspection report as a checklist. And hopefully they can fix the things that we found that were major. I'm Ben Gromicko from INTERNACHI. That's the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors. And we just did a home inspection at a home in the mountains of Idaho. every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector so that we can keep our homes safe, functioning, healthy, and well maintained. Well, I'll see you on the next home inspection. Bye.